This is a follow-up to the proof of concept video I made a couple days ago for my frameless end portal, and I'm now working on the portion that transports the ender portal horizontally over to the end fountain. This happens after the end pearl has been thrown through the gateway. So on the overworld side, there's a launcher under the portal that throws an ender pearl up through the portal, and then once you materialize in the end, it continues up through this hole in the roof, hits this piece of string that closes the roof and pushes the pearl into a bubble column, causing it to come up here and remain in stasis. And then a signal is sent up to activate the conveyor that takes the ender pearl over to the end fountain over there. And the setup is pretty simple once you break it down. There's a series of pistons here that push it along, and then this rig here on the edge of it is to return the block that pushes the ender pearl. I found out the hard way that you can't just push the pearl with pistons. If I just leave it like this and let these pistons push it, the pistons create the piston head retraction creates an ever so momentary backward flow of water as the water fills back down, and that has a tendency to push the pearl backwards into the piston, activating the pearl and wrecking the whole thing. So you have to have a block push the piston, and that prevents the backward flow of water problem, but introduces a new problem. Once that block gets to the end of the row here, you have to return it back somehow. So there's a piston feed tape arrangement here on the side, so that once that block gets to this point here, it's then pushed here, then here, and then that way it gets pushed one block over, which causes this guy to get pushed one block over, then pulled up, and this guy gets pushed over, then pushed down, pushed over, and it just continues all the way along until the block at the very end of the row is pushed back into place, restarting the system, resetting it back to the original setting. So we'll run it here as an example. And you can see the block and ender pearl are being pushed along. And then at the very end, it takes 20 seconds to make this trip. At the very end, it'll drop the pearl down into that stasis chamber and return the block. We'll run it one more time, but this time we'll stay on the other end, and I won't put a pearl in it. Hit it again, and off it goes. Takes 20 seconds, and then it'll return via that tape. And once this is done, the reason you would need this crazy thing is it'll allow for me to come to the end and then return back to the overworld all from the same place. There you go. Back to square one. So this is ready to go a second time now. Once this is done, you will be able to transport to the end with the push of a button, and then once you're done doing your business over here, you press this button and you teleport seamlessly back to the overworld. This will be wired up to that stasis chamber that's over here at the end fountain. So if I push, use your imagination, if I push that button, it activates this right here, teleporting us seamlessly to the overworld. And I'll do a dry run of the overworld side as well. We'll load an ender pearl here. This is all very proof of concept. I'm showing you bits and pieces of it, but once it's done, it'll all be one connected system, so I don't have to run around pushing a million buttons. Oh, there's already one in there. Cool. Alright, so our ender pearl has already been sent over to the end. It just got launched up through there. And when we materialize in the end, it will pop through the ceiling and go into the system. So we'll press a button, we teleport into the end, push of a button, and in 20 seconds, once this whole thing is wired up correctly, In 20 seconds, a light will turn on right here, indicating that the return trip is primed, and we're ready to go. Oh, you can see it traveling along there. So once it gets there, a light would turn on here saying you're good to go. Return trip is loaded, which if you've come here on purpose, then 20 seconds should be fine. You probably have more than 20 seconds worth of things to do here. And then once that light turns on, hit this button, and then pause your imagination. We are the redstone signal. Push the button, and you seamlessly teleport back to the very button that brought you here in the first place. And then upon arriving here, you would look up and throw 2 ender pearls into the ceiling to reload the system. One of them gets brought over here and chucked up through the end portal, and the other gets sent right here to prime the launcher that sends you into the overworld, and then, I'm sorry, into the end, and then you go, and then you leave. Go about your business in the overworld, and when you're ready to go back to the end, you just walk over here to your button, press it, teleports you to the overworld, or the end, do your stuff over there, press the button to leave, and you snap back here. So, a little wordy, maybe a lot to imagine. I'll have to do another video when I'm done. But that is the proof of concept for the horizontal conveyor of the Ender Pearl.